the FNL Network talk show.
Welcome to the FNL Network talk show. I am your host, Holly Hester. I'm here with Eugenia, the lovely Eugenia Kuzmina, and Bettina Skye. How are you ladies tonight?
Hi, Holly. Hi, Bettina.
Hey, how are you, Eugenia?
So good. I mean, sunshine is finally in LA. I can't be happier, even though I was never allowed to complain about the weather coming from Siberia. I still am that person who's complaining about the weather, but I'm very happy now. How about you?
It's raining here. It's raining and thundering and lightning here. So I'm inside. I went outside a little bit for a brunch earlier. And then I walked my doggy in the rain a little bit, but now I'm in.
Where are you?
Warwick, New York. It's a little tiny bit upstate, a little above Westchester.
How about you, Holly?
I am actually traveling. I just got back from Seattle and I'm going back to LA. So right now I'm actually in Texas with family and heading back home in a bit. And it is hot. It's too hot. It reminds me of why I left Texas to go to LA. I paid for the weather. So I'm with Eugenia on this. Eugenia and I love the sun. And I'm so sorry it's raining. I heard about the rain over there, Bettina. I'm so sorry you're in rain.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't think I would either.
Yeah,
That's
I really
not
got
fun.
caught in it too.
Oh no. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes. All right. Well, tonight, ladies, we have a full roster of conversations. I can tell the energy is already flowing here. Let's get into our first topic, if you guys don't mind. I'm sure you've heard about it. I'm sure we've all had thoughts and ideas about it. Number one, the missing Titanic subcrew killed after a catastrophic implosion. So Paul Henry, the expedition leader, Paul Henry Nargillet, was the director of underwater research for the Titanic. He had studied the wreck for more than 3 decades, earning the nickname Mr. Titanic. He and his fellow astronauts, I don't know how you call that, all died. Unfortunately, this crew that went down the Titanic, unfortunately, the submersive Titanic, this little submarine, imploded on these 5 members. It was just too much to bear. 2 miles of the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. This kind of reminds me of NASA's space shuttle in Columbia, the disintegration of the 20 years ago. This happened 20 years ago, killing 7 astronauts. Tell me, Eugenia and Bettina, I want to know, have we finally gone too far in our research and pushed the limits as humans? I want to know your thoughts. I'm going to first go with Bettina. You look like you're frowning a little bit, so I know that you've got some thoughts on it right now. Go ahead. Tell me.
I'm just trying to listen intently. I mean, they weren't really going down for research, from what I understood. They were just going down for like a trip for fun or something, just to see it as an excursion. They paid gobs of money each to go down and check it out. So it just seemed like an excessive fun things, I guess, that these particular rich people wanted to do. I mean, I saw so many things on my feed that were like making fun of them and giving them a hard time, and all kinds of like memes that were just making fun of rich people and stuff. And I just thought that was a part that I found kind of horrible. I mean, it's like a really bad tragedy, no matter which way you look at it, just like a sad occurrence. Like if they didn't die, I guess it would have been fine. They wanted to do a fun adventure. But I guess from what I read, the guy who was so passionate and excited about doing it, he wasn't that clear about checking out all the details of things that could go wrong. He was just like, let's go, because there was another couple, the father and the son, that didn't go down there. They were going to go, and they met with the guy and they went, to check it out. And the son was like, there's too many red flags here. I'm not going to go check it out. So they didn't. They survived. But I don't know that we need to be making so much fun of them as a people. I thought that was the part that really I felt bad about.
Yeah, I don't know why. There was a lot of going on, about that. And oh my gosh, they're going to inherit all that, the money is, they did this all on purpose. And just I agree with you. There were some negative, nasty things to say about it. We're going to kind of shift gears to Eugenia. She's got some great perspectives as well. Eugenia, what do you think about it? Have we humans just pushed the limit? Do you think that what would you have done in this case? I mean, tell me your thoughts on it.
Well, it's a rhetorical question. We did push the limits to any extent. And I agree with you, Bettina, completely. That's the first thing. Like my friend is, we have a friend in common who's a publicist, Christine Peak, and I heard about this submarine before anybody heard about it, like an hour before, that it was going to blow up as a story, and I feel we do push it too far with social media. Like my son talked about all the memes, and that's the teens and the kids who watch the memes. And for them, it teaches them that it's okay to make fun of somebody's circumstances, which are really unfortunate no matter who you are or how you judge. Like you'll be judged no matter what and made fun of. It's just a bullying society. Like, let's start from there. That's where we push the limits, no matter, what happens. And on the other hand, as a society, we're all about the money, right? And like, how can I have more fun with what I got, my time, because time is everything, right? I read this book. It's called Why We Pay Interest on Banks and Loans, because time is interest. Time is the only commodity we have as humans, and we'll die, and obviously it's the most precious thing. So I think as humans we definitely pushed it too far with like, okay, I have that amount of money and I don't only want to like shoot rockets into space and pollute the environment and compete with other billionaires who's going to shoot the biggest and fastest rocket. Let's talk about Freud here. I just came back from
She's going there.
I just came back from Cannes, and literally, people were competing on which yacht and who's going to have the biggest yacht in the spot right in front of everybody, so everybody can Google you. And then I couldn't stand it. All the models were running after the yachts. I was like, get me out of the yachts. I don't want to be stuck there and the traffic to some other territory. You know what I mean? But as humans, we did push it too far. It was a revelation for me. Like, how much can you rely on the outside world to be validated instead of looking inside and protecting the environment and actually doing the real research that needs to be done and not polluting the space, the air. There's so many tornadoes and whatever is happening with the weather, which is crazy. It was snowing in LA this year. I mean, something is not normal. Yeah. And we're responsible as humans for that. Like, we have to start taking responsibility or we're going to implode this earth. I swear to God. I'm sorry to break the news. I don't want to be doing my publicist job, but like I have to break some kind of, record. Let's, as humans, focus. We have to focus. I feel terrible, just reading that story and knowing like that the father and son went, just thinking about the unfortunate loss of somebody who's so young and had so much to live for, and just maybe didn't have the right mind to make a decision and went with his dad, just spend time with his dad, just like I always keep the compassion and thinking, about my kids, like it just becomes very personal. And just humanity, I'm always it's tragic to lose somebody's life, especially in circumstances that I read, the company that was doing the tours, they had so much bad track record. And one of the few companies who wasn't insured, and they try to make money on that, saying that our things are so innovative, our technology just is so fast and innovative that the insurance can't keep up with that. And they try to find all these leeways not to get insured because it actually gives bad rap to the whole community of explorers. Like you said, oh, is it a bad rap on research? No, because there's a huge, scientific community that would be looked down upon just because this company wasn't insured, because they were trying to make money on other people who were just have nothing to do with their time but shoot rockets or submarines, So it all comes down to human greed and sensationalism, bullying, social media comparison, jealousy, all the traits that as humanity we have in the negative traits, the sins, as you say, they all came out on the surface like cancer. I'm sorry, but it has to stop. So I'm very passionate about it. I think it's tragic. It's nothing to do memes about. And hopefully that we will learn collectively as a humanity and take this, action towards doing something different.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I love how you mentioned Freud. You had to go there. That male specimen. Let's just all brag about the male specimen part.
I have a
we all know Freud because we're all intelligent people in this.
Yes, and I'm not I think we all have masculine and feminine inside of us, thank God for having that. Otherwise, but just use your humanity in the right direction, I would say.
Absolutely. I love that. And speaking of, I love how you said that part about we have nothing better than to feed people that sort of information. We have nothing better than to study, other people's lives and study who can make the more headlines and who's bragging more. It kind of transitions into this season 8, the show. What is the show called? It's called the I forget it. The show. It's on season 18 right now. Sister Wives. That's the show. The Sister Wives is what everyone watches. I don't know about that show. It follows the lives of Cody Brown and ex-wife, well, now ex-wife, Robin, Mary, Janelle, and Christine. So basically, they're 18 children. Apparently, Janelle and Christine took a few moments at a bar in Nashville, classy ladies, to lay hard into their ex-spouses. Christine seemed very heated while talking about Cody. She mentions he was stressing her out, all right? So you got, this show is basically Sister Wives. It's about polygamy, and it's kind of very controversial. I'm sure it's not the first show that's been done about this area, but people are really getting into this feud because these wives, headlines made about their now ex-wife, Christine. I have no idea why just she's an ex-wife. And I don't know the ins and outs and if you can divorce and whatever. So apparently she was bashing him to another wife. All right. What advice would you give to somebody? Say would you ever talk about an ex, or has someone ever talked about you? What advice would you have to give somebody, whether it be healthy or whatever, about an ex or any toxic relationship? Let's start with Eugenia, because I started with Bettina last time. Go ahead, Eugenia. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I think we lost I'm so heated, I guess. The heat is reflecting on, inside. First of all, I really feel we lost all the class and morals as humanity, and we would do anything just to get the attention. And also, even the money and anything is not real. It has more value than things that are real. Look at it like NFTs, likes, cryptocurrency. We're all just striving to get attention for something that doesn't even exist. And look at of course, reality TV. I personally don't have time to spend my precious life on that, but I researched the topic since you mentioned that. And I just, it's a pity for me that people would sell literally their soul for an extra attention. I'm sure it comes from the producers and, they need to get ratings. I know how it works.
Yeah.
I think reality TV is very toxic for people inside. I still have to see a reality TV that is really inspiring and not manipulating the talent. A lot of shows about top models, I know my friends were on, they're complaining. They have no idea about the narrative. Usually the producers try to find what's negative behind their back and try to push them against each other to fight, catfight. It is just a pity. I try to create myself a positive reality show, but people are oh, nobody's going to care. So I think as a society, it's something that we're addicted to is negative news. And, that toxic sensationalism because it will make us feel better. Oh, this person has more toxic relationship than I do. Like I can relate to that, and that's why we binge on all the shows, because we just want to feel better about them ourselves. And we don't even maybe realize psychologically it's an inner work. It's not about the outside and like being validated from the outside. And talking about like my advice, I lived for 14 years next to my husband's ex-wife, and we went to therapy, and it was all for my stepson, because I believe that kids always come first, no matter where you come. Relationships, we're not alone. There's no such thing for me as like a bad ex. We are, even if you don't raise kids, you still were in a relationship with that person for some reason. Like, take your responsibility. You didn't just, don't play a victim. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, poor me. Like, oh, this person was so bad. But you were at some point attracted to that person. You had a relationship with them. Like, what, there's a part of the coin that you don't acknowledge. Then say you were a, gold grabbing, whatever, whatever it is you are, whatever, analyze yourself, go to therapy, and don't sell your soul. That's what I would give an advice. And have some class. I miss, like, coming from Cannes, I just thought about it. It was so desperate for me. And like, I love independent movies. I love storytelling. I think it's something that connects us, to have movies that have real moral compass, something for kids to learn, like about kindness and support and connection and compassion. And it's just really hard to see Hollywood being like all Marvel movies, all the same plot, like, win, win, win. I'm the superhero. I'm the better superhero. Like, what is the point? So I miss the times of like, Audrey Hepburn, and those times where people had class and they kept their lives private, and they went to work, and, it was work. Now I feel like we're all 24/7 just trying to get attention. I had to stop myself, outing myself on social media. I'm like, my friend's like, why are you posting 24/7 on Instagram? I'm like, well, I have to analyze myself. It's like, because I'm seeking attention and I don't want to pay for my therapy, And I was like, this is not cool. I have to really protect my kids. So I just think there's a lot to reflect on that.
Yeah. But so Eugenia got really transparent with everybody. I don't know if anyone else would admit that about social media. I'm trying to get attention. Let's all admit that I'm trying to get attention. Okay, if she admits it first, she started this. I'll admit it. I'm trying to get attention too. Bettina, what about you? Are you trying to get attention?
Always.
And how about your ex?
Well, I agree with the same thing about like how fake like these reality shows are. Like, don't forget they get people together, and they don't let them sleep, they don't let them eat, they give them lots of alcohol. That they really manipulate them into kind of being a little crazy, and so it kind of heightens whatever like nuts you are to begin with, and then they put them in the reality show and they make them easy crazy, and then they make fake stories, like they manipulate, like, well, you should say this to her and you should say this to her, and they try and make a crazy story, and then like so many people believe like this is real. Now this one just seems like the stupidest one. I mean, a story about a guy with a lot of wives. I mean, I would never watch something like that. It sounds like the worst. Who wants to have another wife there? I don't know, it just seems really wacky to me and terrible. So I wouldn't watch it. But if you're asking me a question about exes, I just happen not to keep in touch with any of my exes. It just randomly worked out that way. I haven't had many exes. I mean, I'm happily married. I haven't had many exes, certainly like I count them on one hand, but they all were, I was a very different person in my youth. So, a lot of them like went to jail or were on drugs or some, there's just like a whole different life that they're involved in. It makes no sense for me to, I don't even know if I could locate them if I tried, I don't know how to find any of them. But there's no reason for me to keep in touch with them anyways. And they certainly haven't tried to keep in touch with me far as I
Don't
know.
bail him from jail. Don't bail him from jail. I know women are like so compassionate sometimes, especially if a mom, you're like, I have to call my ex and bail him from jail. I haven't talked to him in 20 years, but now.
Oh, never. I mean, I don't know where he is, if he's alive or anything, that one, I don't know, and I was so different. It made sense at the time, and I certainly visited him in jail for a little bit at the time. We were talking like so many years ago. And then I was like, no, we should break up. This is not good. So I don't know, but in general, I think it's okay to be friends with your ex if it's someone that you're friendly with and you're still on the same page and you're friendly, especially if there's kids. You want to stay in touch with your ex. Of course, I just feel like kindness and compassion is like a good way to try to be and to have love for people and to show respect for people. That's kind of like the way to go, to have good vibes for everyone, in general. So, if you're still friendly with your ex, I don't see necessarily a problem with that. I just don't like the whole idea of like promoting that show as if it's real. It's the whole thing's made up. They were probably forced to get together or say certain stuff, just to get people talking about it. And here we are, we're talking about it.
Absolutely. I love that. My gosh. So Bettina and Eugenia. So your heart out for any man who has ever been interested in you and moved on, because you guys seem like the healthiest people. We don't talk about people. If we're Eugenia and Kuzmina, and Bettina, we do not talk about our exes, and we say show class. Doggone it, show class to people. All right, I love it.
Good light, right? You want people to know that you get along. I don't know. I was happy to be friends with my husband's ex-wife, and took a couple therapy sessions. But we knew, like, in COVID, people were so dislocated, and like she used to live next door to us, and she would come over just because we try to create a small community as much as you can.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Really healthy. No, I completely agree. I say, class it up, don't leave your stuff on the street, if you can work it out together. And absolutely. So if you're ever in a toxic relationship, go to Eugenia and Bettina. They got some really good advice for you. And I'm not kidding. I'm serious about that, ladies. You guys are excellent and very classy, I might add. Okay, so transitioning from Bettina's view of Sister Wives and Eugenia's view, TV shows. It's now the Emmys that are coming up. The ballots are tonight. They end at sometime around midnight is what I hear. 2023 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. There are 4 days left. The ballots, they're doing something with the ballots tonight is what I understand. Pedro Pascal and Jenny Ortega surge Daisy Jones. It gains momentum for the show. Better Call Saul, The Crown, all these shows. All right. The first round of voting, like I said, it ends tonight, 10 p.m. Who is everyone voting for? Have you guys heard these shows? There are shows like Wednesday, Addams, which I grew up on, The Bear, and The Last of Us. Who are you guys going to vote for? Do you guys have any interest? Tell us your thoughts, ladies. Whoever wants to go first. Eugenia.
Okay. Well, my daughter loves Wednesday, but she also is the one who's like at 3 years old, was watching Chucky and like, she's like, let me see it. I'm 3 years old. I can watch it, so she likes dark things. She's very smart. And, I think we watch things because it's the shadow parts of us, right? So we like to watch things that are twisted and kind of something that we don't want to see in ourselves. So personally, one of my favorite shows, I don't know if it's a nomination, but I love White Lotus. I thought it was very, very like well written, well executed and acted, like to the point. I think the class system, like the world we live in, the materialistic world, how we treat people who can do nothing for us or who are just like working for us, it just comes all directly from slavery and transition into the service business. I never thought about it. I try to be polite at resorts to people who work there, but I didn't know that they can be abused so badly by people who just stay at the place. It was fascinating world for me to kind of reflect and to open, because sometimes you live in your own head. You don't need to know how other people act. But it's true. Like I deal with that in we have contractors who would pull nails in the swimming pool where my kids were swimming, and I couldn't understand, for the God's sake, like why people would do that. But maybe, I try to be nice to them, but like people, the class system and the money system is a very strange thing, coming from communism where everybody was a worker, but it was still corrupt. It is still fascinating. And the other things, if it wasn't nominated, Daisy Jones, I heard a lot about it. I haven't seen it. I'm a fan of musicians. If there is any kind of musician and needs a groupie, sign me up. I'll be there tomorrow, any backstage. I'm such a fan of music. Music connects us as humans on the first level, goes straight to the heart, no matter who you are, if you understand the words, you connect through music. So, I have to watch that. That's, I guess, my answer to your question.
I love it. All right. So that's Eugenia. Bettina, who are you voting for? Any interest at all? And do you know anything about the show?
I'm an actress, also.
Of course.
I love television shows, but I've watched some of these shows, not all of them. I watched Maisel, that one. The Wondrous, whatever that was called. I really liked that one. I especially liked Alex Borstein playing the side character with Rachel Brosnahan. Alex Borstein, she's one of my favorites. So that's what made the show for me. I think I talked about this a little bit on another show, that I wasn't so happy to see so many Jewish characters played by non-Jewish people. That really me quite a bit. So it was hard to watch a lot of it, but I thought it was a great show.
Why is that? I don't get it. Why? What? I never heard that happened. Like for me, I would think that
it's a
Jewish
thing.
culture is like, it's the foundation of the theater, right? It's the foundation of like people who are repressed and who became artistic, and you would want to support anybody who's an underdog. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was really hard to deal with for me personally. But hey, I just got cast in a series, and I'm going to be playing a Russian lady.
Oh my God! Why does everybody who's not Russian get cast as a Russian? Tell me that.
Well, on the other hand, I am from Russian ancestry. Like
okay, I give you.
Yeah, like my real last name is very Russian. You could tell with my real last name, Yanovsky. So
don't do a fake Hollywood Russian accent. Can't stand it. It's like
you're actually Russian, aren't you?
I'm Russian. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I need maybe I can talk to you about that.
Of course.
And get help with some of the accents.
Yeah,
that would be freaking amazing.
We need to change the industry. I'm
so So it's going to be a recurring role. I'm shooting starting in August, and you know who's going to be in it? Steven Van Zandt has a cast member, which
okay.
Music, talking about great music.
What's the name of the show? So we can
am I allowed to say all this? I'm like, I don't even know.
Don't do anything.
You already said too much. I just realized.
Yeah, absolutely.
IMDb.
We're gonna follow you when it's gonna come out, and then we'll ask you.
Yeah, I don't think it's even on. Is it? I think it is on IMDb.
Don't say it.
But eventually it'll be much more out there. But
I was fired from Vanity Fair shoot once because I mentioned it the night before, and because I was so excited. Like, if you don't take the tweet down, we'll fire you. And then they fired me anyway, because John Hamm didn't want to be didn't want me to do clean the car and him stay with a cocktail. He wanted to be a man. So I was fired by him. So
all right. Well,
anyway, maybe we could delete some of that. I don't know.
Nah, keep it. I like it. It's raw. It's still very raw. I just don't
want to be saying too much that I'm not supposed to say. I was just, I forgot.
No, I think it's great. Yeah, I think it's great. Talk about these shows. Yeah, I love it. I mean,
anyway, I'll tell you about some shows. Some shows I really liked. I really loved The Crown. I just really enjoyed watching that. Also really, really loved Better Call Saul. So those two shows I really enjoyed. The other ones I've heard of, but I didn't see, so I don't know. But also I wanted to say also to Eugenia, I love what you said about music and how it brings people together. And my husband is a jazz musician,
Oh my
and
God.
he actually produces a jazz festival. It's in its 14th year.
Sure.
It's coming up again this August. It's like 25 jazz shows in 5 days in the
Wow.
Hudson Valley, near where we live in Warwick. And come on out, fly out.
I love music. I want to come out. I swear, please mention it after the show because I want to come out.
I'll tell you about it. You can
Jazz.
look. I mean, I'll tell you. It's check out the website HudsonValleyJazzFest.org, and it's some beautiful jazz and some well-known musicians, as well as featuring musicians, very, very well, great musicians in our area. So the whole thing's pretty great. I know this is like off the topic, but I got excited
No, it's okay.
about music and how it just, for me, like the jazz festival brought so many communities together. That's how we got friendly with so many artists in our area. And really, we set up like community here because of all the jazz and people getting together and hanging out together. It was really something. And it's, it's still going on. It's in its 14th year now. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. No, congratulations, Bettina. Don't ever think that's wrong to mention. I love it. And I completely agree with The Crown, with what you said about The Crown. Yes, wasn't it good? It's it's addictive. It's very, very real. It shows a different perspective. I completely,
yeah. And Better Call Saul. I love that guy, Bob Odenkirk. Oh, he's so good. He's so good at his role. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
My favorite.
So we all agree we're at least into TV shows, that we're at least looking into the Emmy nominations, right? I mean, we're at least going to support that, just even if it's a little bit. We're going to support that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna end the show on a lighter note. Christian Roberto Lopez Rodriguez. Try sound that fast like 4 times. Christian Roberto Lopez Rodriguez, 34. He donned 2.76 inches stiletto heels, and ran 100 meters, 328 feet, in 12.82 seconds. Wow. He beat Andre Ortov in Guinness World Records. All right, so ending on a lighter note, girls, ladies, what is the hardest thing in life you've ever done, and what have you won for it? I'll go ahead and start with Bettina on this.
What is the hardest thing I've ever done? That's the question.
Yes, hardest thing and done that you've had recognition for. I mean, it could be anything from stilettos to breaking world records to wearing something goofy and getting attention for it, getting social media attention that we all want. I love it. I love it.
I don't know if I have an answer for that. Something I physically did that was hard that,
Heck yeah.
Well, in my youth, I climbed Mount Masada. I was in Israel. Also, I was a very good water skier, and I went to camp every summer and I did a lot of water skiing. And then years after me and my husband were married, we were at some resort or something, and I was like, I'm gonna go water skiing, and he did not know I knew how to water ski. And he was like, no, you're not. Oh my God. But I'm like, I could totally do it. So like I went, and there were like, lots of waves, and I just like, I stayed up because I knew how to do this. And everyone else, it was so bad. Everyone else was like falling down. And I guess that was an example because he was very surprised, and I got a lot of attention because he had no idea I could do that. And, it was a physical strength or ability of balance and strength that I was able to do. So, and I mean, in my youth, I always did gymnastics, and, I did lots of crazy things with that, I don't know. So those are some physical, but I will say on the other hand, like emotionally, I've been through some crazy experiences in my life, some trauma, some horrible things that happened to me. And I, in my youth, but now, like I had to do a lot of healing to get past some difficult emotional issues. And I did. That was even way harder than any of these like physical issues to be able to come out to be a functioning human with some of the tragedies I went through. So, I'll throw that in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, that could be stilettos. That could be set like 12-inch stiletto heels. I love those moments, especially because you schooled your honey. You
He's
schooled him
really
in
shocked.
skiing.
You're shocked.
That's yes. I love. All right, Eugenia, what about you? Have you ever worn stilettos and broken a record? I'm sure that you've been in Guinness before, girl. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Bettina, thank you so much for sharing. I literally was like picturing you being a child in gymnastics, like you just opened up. It was so vulnerable to see, and like I could see that. So thanks for sharing. And also like talking about emotional wounds, I think it makes us all human, right? Like sometimes you think like, oh, I'm the only one, and like nobody knows that this is happening to me, and like, oh my God. But like you sharing that, like, of course, I feel like I feel not that special anymore, like I thought about emotional wounds, but like you sharing that, I was like, well, sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but I was okay, you can bleep it.
Bleep out this whole show. I said too many crazy things.
But it's so true, it's like we're not that special in a way. We're all human, and just going through that, like we all go through things, right? It's life. It's not Instagram. Thank God.
Or Freud.
It is more Freud, but was the hardest thing I've done. I feel it's like giving birth to my kids. And the second one without anesthesia, and my husband delivered the baby in the hole.
Wow.
And like my doctor said, first of all, they said it's like very hard. It's almost impossible for me to have kids. And then like my Russian doctors, because they're crazy, they're so sadist. They're like, oh, you can't fly, you have to stay in Russia and have a kid. Whatever their thinking behind that was. And like they almost tried to make me lose the baby by doing something really stupid. And thank God I have a good doctor here. But then, they almost injected something wrong with me in the hospital, even though we paid for it. So even money doesn't buy you health, and just the fact that your body can deliver another human to life. I mean, it's a magical thing, even with everything that goes wrong. If you have that faith, like I would rather have another kid than go to my dentist, honestly. Like that's how crazy it is. But looking back with all the no's and all the precautions, and also I have a blood, like negative blood, and basically my body rejects kids, so I have to do a shot so my body doesn't reject the kid. And then like the kid is like turned upside down, so it's even harder. There's so many things that can go wrong, and it's just such a natural process that it's bigger than you. Like it's bigger than your ego, it's bigger than your life. And I'm sure my kids wouldn't give me credit for that, but it was freaking hard, and I'm freaking proud of myself for for doing that. And I'm proud of my husband for delivering a baby. Like I'm just very proud of him. And to share a funny gossip story about attention, so my husband was trying to sign Tom Cruise as an agent at some point. And Tom Cruise is so well known into doing crazy physical stunts. He's like amazing actor, amazing being, when I was Scientology, I'm not talking about that, but he's always there for you on set as like to help you make the movie better. And then he's crazy physical because he does all his stunts, right? So he told my husband, I'll sign you if you go on this little rafting trip with me. So they go. And he's like, sure, let me raft. They go to the biggest waterfall. I don't remember what it is. And he's like, we're just going to raft like off this cliff. And I swear to God, my husband's like, I swear to God, I never was so scared in my life. I shit my pants. Like it was like next level. I was like, there's no freaking way we're going to survive this. Story in the news, I doing this. It went down. It was insane. And Tom Cruise is like, so I would think about signing you as an agent if you go with me second time. And he went.
No!
And Tom he totally went by himself and did it the second time. So, you know, there's so much human potential that we didn't know about. And, you know, being a mom, I know that because for my kids, I'll do anything. And for my dog and for any kind of wild animal who is abused and not protected, like we have so much potential. We just use a little bit of it because we don't trust it. And I think we can use more of our intuition to access that potential for good.
Yeah.
I think what you guys bring up is interesting points. Sometimes you have to do things, you have to kind of push yourself out of that comfort zone like this guy did. It's not, I mean, dudes wearing chicks' heels, you know, we wear heels and we're complaining. I mean, imagine a dude doing it, and he's got every right to go in the Guinness Book of World Records because no one else would want to complete that task. So I think that pushing yourself to your limits is really what you're saying in the theme right now. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Just do it for attention, you know, because I don't know if you've seen that show, The Idol. Have you seen that show now?
The Idol?
Yeah, it's with Johnny Depp and Lily Rose, and it's all about this famous star who would do anything just to be famous. And like it's a fascinating reflection of our industry in LA in a way, or New York. You guys would agree.
Yeah, people are pushing the limitations all their time. I mean, you know, I saw once where what is it? This baby that's being born has fins now, and people, what did people do when they first saw it? People, like, a camera was shoved in this baby's face whenever it was born. It's like, yeah, I realized that you had to capture this footage.
A baby had fins.
Yeah, baby had fins. It was like it came out. It was birthed and it had fins. And it was one of those things where I'm sure that you need the footage for proof, but at the same time, just take a picture. Don't shove a camera right in that baby's face when it's crying. It's need its mother and stuff like that. We've just become weird, you know, with our need to do that. Like she said about attention, we become weird. We become this whole, put a camera up in my face for attention, for, you know, Freud, and then you know, masculine.
Well, I'd like to see a baby. I'd like to see a picture of the baby with the fins.
Let's do it. That's what we're all gonna do. That's the bloopers. We're all gonna get in a chat later. We're gonna blitz this picture. We're all gonna talk about it. So for those of you who want to know what we do after the show, you know, but yeah, I love it. Well, ladies, it was great. We have talked about subject to subject. We've gone from anywhere from Floyd, you know, whatever, to we all want attention. We all want more social media attention, and we've been transparent about that. Eugenia, thank you for that. And we've covered so many interesting topics here. We've loved every minute of it, and it's always a great time. Eugenia Kuzmina and Bettina Skye, thank you so much, ladies. That's for now on this week's episode of the FNL Network Talk Show. Please like us on Instagram and Facebook, and continue to follow us, and we will see you guys until next time, next episode. Bye.